I'm going to chop some evenly sized pieces of potato. I like the red roosters. This is for the mash. Put them on to boil. So I'm going to finely chop them. Like little rings. Olive oil, spring onions in. Crush a clove of garlic. That's it. Rough chopping the cherry tomatoes. I find the cherry tomatoes really nice because they're a bit more juicy. They've got a lot more flavour to them. We have tried them with the bigger sort of beef tomatoes or just the ordinary like salad tomatoes, but these are much nicer. Just to sort of cut the acidity of the tomatoes, I add a tiny, tiny amount of sugar, like literally like a tip of a teaspoon. That's all you need just to neutralise the acidity. And that's it, that's ready to go now. So I've had the olive oil, 1 clove of garlic crushed, a bunch of spring onions finely sliced, and then a rough chop of cherry tomatoes. And that's going to go on the heat now. And I've put it on a medium to high heat, like on a scale of 1 to 10, about a 6. Lid on to keep the moisture in and keep all the flavours in there. So I'm going to add 60 ml of the white wine to the sauce. Not at the moment, I'm just getting it ready. So you can be a bit more generous if you like. It's quite nice to have a lot of sauce with this dish. And I'm also going to get the fish out. So this is just 4 pieces of hake. We would use a cod or any white fish basically. Brilliant. You're just going to steam it in the sauce once it's ready. So we find 2 pieces each are plenty for us. We have quite healthy appetites. It is one of the most essential ingredients for this dish, which is a stock pot, and it's a fish stock pot, and they're made by Knorr, and they're fantastic. We have tried others. We've tried like Tesco's own, and it's just not as good. Okay, so this has been on a kind of medium to high heat, like a number 7 out of 10, and the lid's been on, so it's kept all those flavours and juices in, so it should be sizzling a little bit. You should be able to smell the garlic and the spring onions. They've cooked down a tiny bit. That's exactly where I want to be. So now I'm going to add the stock pot, the fish stock pot, and then I'm going to add the wine. I'll just mix that through and put the lid on. And that will just cook a little bit before I add the fish. I think that's good to go now. Just now I'm going to place the pieces of fish, if I can. So this is why I've used a wide pan. Maybe I should have mentioned that earlier. But I don't want the fish on top of each other, so they equally cook. And then just wiggle them into the sauce a little bit. Add some black pepper to the fish. So I'm going to put the lid on now, and I'm going to steam that in the sauce for 12 minutes. There you go. So that's about 7 and for 12 minutes with the lid on. And obviously after 12 minutes, I can check that the fish is falling apart and it is cooked all the way through. You can generally see that by just putting a fork to it. It should just fall apart. So I've drained the potatoes. I actually empty the pan of the water and I put the pan back on the heat, just a really, really low heat, just to dry out the potatoes so there isn't any extra water in there. The potatoes are slightly dried out now on the low heat. And I'm going to add a very generous knob of butter. Some milk, and being on the heat and being directly on the pan, that helps that the butter and the milk warm up and the butter to melt. It just helps the mash become really smooth and creamy really easily. So really easy way to steam these green beans. Now we always love these ones. These are the extra fine beans. Just a nice big sized handful in a bowl, and I'm actually going to rinse those with cold water and drain, and then leave a bit of the water in there, and that will help them steam in the microwave. So I literally fill up the bowl, give them a little rinse and a clean as well at the same time, and then drain that. And obviously there's still a little bit of water in there. And then I'm going to add a bit of salt. And just toss that through again. And then I'm putting a plate on top to help them steam, okay, in the microwave. So it keeps the moisture inside basically and helps the vegetables steam. Crunchy, tasty. The fish has got a minute to go. And I put it on 5 in the end, 5.5, just to keep it simmering, keep the liquid in. Don't let it cook off too much of the liquid. 12 minutes with the sauce and with it simmering with the lid on for about a 5.5. And then I just check, yeah, that is, I'm really gentle, but I can just tell that is going to start falling apart. I'm going to put on half the plate. And then I get the fish. And I just take the fillets of the fish out, not the sauce. So just the fish to one side. So there's the fish. And then what I do is I get the green beans that I cooked in the microwave, pop the beans straight into the sauce, give them a little coating. So then all that lovely juice, all that stock, all those spring onions and tomatoes and garlic just coat those green beans. And then what I can do is just divide that between the two dishes. And the last little bit I'm just going to pour on. Don't want to lose any of that gorgeous juice. So that's our steamed white fish in spring onions, garlic, tomatoes and white wine, served with French thin, skinny French beans on mash.